Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the launch of Dietelogues by Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education. I am your host, Astha Jessica, Regional Manager, Activation Service. Thank you, everyone, for joining in for this launch, which was long awaited. Before we could start the program, let me take you through the sequence of events to be held this evening. We will initiate the launch with context setting by Raju, Head Commercial Operations, followed by playing a launch video on Dietelogues. Post which Sandeep Khandelwal, GG India Head, will address us and share about his vision for Dietelogues. Third in sequence would be MV Ramanna, CEO Branded Markets India and Emerging Markets, who will share his personal experience on diet, wellness, and patient centricity. Post Ramana's talk, Rajesh Khanna, Division Head Optimus, will steer a panel discussion on therapy-wise perspective on medical nutrition therapy between Hari Krishna Vijayan, Cluster Head Chronic 2, Ashish Nigam, Cluster Head Chronic 1 and Nepal, Manish Bajaj, Cluster Head Recura, Sugato Mitra, Cluster Head Super Speciality, and Arvind Shukla, VP and Head Nutraceuticals Branded Market. After the panel discussion on therapy-wise perspective, we shall progress for another panel talk on Dietalogue's way forward, which would be steered by Sunita Upe, lead AFL and Dietalogue, and the panelists would be Rajesh Khanna, Division Head Optimus, Alok Verma, Division Head Zenura, Yatish Singh, Head DRFHE. For everyone's convenience, we will take the questions at the last, and the viewers are requested to drop their questions in the chat box. Now, without taking any more time, I would like to invite Raju to start the launch ceremony. Over to you, Raju, sir.
Thank you, Asta, and good evening, everybody. So, welcome to the launch of Dietlogues, the digital nutrition service. In a way, it's not a launch. Actually, I would call it a scaling event. We've been running this pilot for a year now, but COVID is presented an adversity, and the team has turned this adversity into an opportunity. And we are converted this into a digital nutrition service, or we're calling it a Dietlogue. We're very excited to have all of you here participate in this grand launch of the project organized by DRFHE. So DRFHE, as you know, is focused essentially in two areas: training, which is led by Shrikant, and awareness, which Sunita leads. Last year, we launched the third segment, which is activation service, nutrition consultation for patients of our core HCPs, which is operational in the field until mid-March. But like post-lockdown, I think the work from home mode, everything turned digital. So therefore, the birth of Dietlogues. So this month, Honorable Prime Minister spoke about the importance of nutrition and its role in building the nation during the recent Mann Ki Baat, and actually described September as Poshan Ma, National Nutrition Month. Dietlogues is a project that is in sync with the PM's vision for the nation and focusing spreading awareness about the importance of nutrition deficiencies and malnutrition. Keeping in mind the current situation and future approach, Dr. Reddy's is introducing Dietlogues, the objective of which is to improve the health outcomes by providing personalized nutrition and lifestyle modification through a digital platform to the patients of our partnered HCPs, which will reduce the patient's time in the doctor's chamber and patients get more value add from the doctors. So in terms overall role we are playing on enabling healthcare access and affordability, in India, providing in-person healthcare is pretty challenging, as we all know, particularly given the large geographical. One of the major advantages of digital health or telehealth can be not just getting access, but also getting the scale and speed in making this big, especially for people who are in hinterlands, rural patients, and so on. So there are many benefits we are seeing. We have been able to quadruple our number of patients served in a given unit of time, pre-COVID to post-COVID. So we're not only getting benefits such as, for example, we were in Nagpur when we were doing pre-COVID the service. Only Nagpur was a city where we are able to offer vernacular service in Marathi. Now, but with digital service, we are able to take this to many towns and cities beyond Nagpur for patients needing vernacular. So such is one example. And obviously there is efficiency costs that are getting better because of efficiency. So in line with several initiatives of Government of India, Dr. Reddy's as a pharma major has evolved from medicines alone to going beyond the pill with several patients. So, and therefore, Dietelogue is a very good I would like to quickly take you through some of our patient feedback and experiences over the last 4 5 months, especially during the lockdown period, to give you a sense of what customers are saying, what patients are saying, what doctors are saying, so that we can build on top of it. So may I request Asta or Vinod to flash the. So can you go to the next page? Yeah. So essentially, COVID, like I said, is an adversity, but I think we're trying to push this into an opportunity for us by creating this outreach. So let's go to the next page. Okay, I hope the focus is clear and you're all able to see this. But in case you're having challenge reading this, let me just call this out, right? So we actually did a survey with dietitians who participated in this last 6 7 months. Over 600 dietitians were there. 600 doctors were there, I'm sorry. And then we actually asked them a couple of questions. We asked them four questions. In the last 6 to 9 months, in the next 6 to 9 months, virtual nutrition counseling is required for my patients. What's your response there? And we got an overwhelming 97% actually said yes to that. So given, I think they probably anticipate the COVID would continue and they're feeling very strongly about wanting to continue this service. Efficacy of virtual nutrition counseling is as good as in-person counseling is next question we posed, to which we got, you can see there, it's almost 80% plus of them are saying it's as good as in-person counseling, which I think is a pretty decent number there. And then we asked, virtual counseling service provided from Dr. Reddy's is among the top value-adding initiatives to me by any pharmaceutical organization. So this is really pushing the boundaries, and we just wanted to see what's the, and here again, this is surprised, and more than 90, almost 95% of the doctors are saying this is one of the top service that they got from any pharma company. So this is really a testimony of how the perception has been. And then the bottom table actually is where is the penny dropping question, right? The NPS, as you might, let me just explain what it is. How likely is that you would recommend the service to a friend or colleague? And the way this works is anybody who rates this from 0 to 6 on a scale of 0 to 10, we call them as detractors. Anybody who says 7 or 8, we call them passives. And anybody who's giving 9 or 10, we call them promoters. So actually the number of people who are giving a score of 9 and 10, that gets multiplied, and the detractor score is subtracted from that, the weighted average component of it, and we arrive at something called as net promoter score. Now, what is a good net promoter score? Usually for healthcare service in India, yesterday Saroj was sharing with us, and I also read this from Bain and Company's work, the 30 and above is considered very good. And we are hitting a number of 42, which basically means the service is delighting our customers, the doctors who we are offering it to. So I would like to also compliment the team, Asta and team, to for their dedicated work to get to these outcomes. Can we go to the next page? There are a few more survey outputs I wanted to take you through it. Then we actually went ahead and asked patients the same question, similar questions, how they felt with the service. My experience with the telephonic nutrition counseling is delightful, was the response to them, was the question to them. And almost 97, 95, 96, 7% of them have been either said strongly agree or agree to this question. Actually, strongly agree is two-thirds of it, which is pretty strong feedback. Most of my nutrition related queries were addressed during telephonic consultation. Here again, we got an overwhelming positive response. And then we went on to ask them, if this became a fully paid service in due course, how much are you willing to pay? I would really call this a penny dropping question. And we gave them a bunch of choices, 100 to 300, 300 to 500, 500 not willing to pay. About a third of them said not willing to pay, but two-thirds of them said they would pay for this service, right? So that's also another good barometer yardstick of how the patient is perceiving the value from this. Kindly choose your preference when it comes to consulting with a dietitian in the near future. In clinic consultation versus telephonic. So it's all in the context of COVID. So in that context, I guess a lot of patients feel comfortable to seek the service over telephone or video, because it also assures them the safety besides getting the quality service. And NPS measured on the patients, we're getting an NPS of 48, which is even more better than what we got with doctors. So overall, from both these pages, you can see the participating doctors as well as the recipient patients are delighted with the service. Now it's up to us how we are able to sustain and scale this and ensure our medical rep is able to work with the dietitian and interact with the doctor in a way that we are able to create win-wins for everybody here, patient, doctor, as well as the medical rep. So can we go to the next page? So as you know, we have started the service in 3 cities, Hyderabad, Nagpur, and Delhi. We engage 112 doctors. Then currently we are offering this in 10 languages, 1,300 doctors we're going to engage. And our vision is to actually take it to 5,000 doctors, pan-India, and no limit on language capability. I would also like to call out that we are indebted to our competitors, especially Abbott, because we are not the first ones to do this. Abbott is definitely invested heavily behind this, but we've learned a lot from their mistakes, and we've baked in all of those things into this model. So the big challenge is either holding the talent or making it cost effective or monetization or all of these. So in the way we sort of looked at this whole model, we have attempted to address all these questions. And let's hope, so far at least 1 year, we seem to be on the right track. We still not reached the scale that we wanted to. We're moving from 100 to 1,300, but I think 1,300 to 5,000 is a real testimony of where we want to get. Next page, please. So in terms of what the team wants to set out, this is the vision the team actually put it down. So we wanted to be a preferred digital nutrition service partner of Dr. Reddy's core doctors, thereby touching more than 1 lakh patients in a year. So it's a bold aspirational goal the team has taken. So let's hope we are able to make this happen in the next 12 months. Next page, please. So objectives, triple objectives. When I borrowed this from first time from Manish Bajaj, when you actually laid out a triple vector, and that really stuck on. And we are applying it here as we do for any patient service, Pill Plus service. Effective and accessible nutrition consultation service to all patients, which is the patient vector, which is the core and fundamental thing why this service is launched. Helping HCPs grow their practice through a qualified team of nutritionists, because HCPs will become even more valuable, especially in the chronic or semi-chronic spaces. The percentage of repeat patients is actually going to go up if they are able to delight their patients through this service. And that's what we'll help them do. Richer HCP access to frontline, thereby helping them gather higher PBDs. So that's on although the PBD part is more for the sales team, not so much for this team, but the access and the quality of access that we get as a consequence of the work this team is doing is in a different league altogether. If you get a sense of the NPS and the comments you're getting from the doctors. Next page, please. So I'm going to skip some of these pages, but essentially what we are proposing here is we will work with core doctors. Doctor selection is going to be very important. That is completely the prerogative of the head sales or commercial head, wherever we engage. We want to keep it completely digital post-COVID as well. And we want to make sure the engagement is pretty solid. And we wanted to cover as many therapies and as many divisions as possible and continue to keep our high bar on quality for this. That's the summary of what this page is trying to say. Can we go to the next page, please? So essentially, at an operational level, our USP is going to be, it's a 6-day-a-week service. We have a pretty qualified team of nutritionists. Later on, we're going to introduce our team to you. I am very delighted to have all our nutritionists. It is one of the most talented and qualified team I have worked in my career. So I wanted to also acknowledge my gratitude to them. The last 1 year, I think it's been a pleasure working with them. And they have been an integral part of Dr. Reddy's team. They're all on the call to really represent our company to these doctors and really day in and day out exceed their expectations. So that's essentially capture is what is captured, and we are pushing the boundary envelope on the language front, which I think is great. And the customization and the charts, the material that they are also leaving behind on the mobile application are also something which is extremely well appreciated. So a lot of tech is getting added to this as we speak. We have our partners who also invested in the tech. We're paying for the tech as well. So combination of content, expertise of the dietitian, and ready to use on the go tech is going to make this a very distinctive service. Next place, please. So we are wanting to, our aspiration is to scale it big. So we are just starting with Zenora and Optimus, but we clearly see this being a very big, huge competitive advantage for many other divisions. We want to make sure in next quarter we are hitting this out of the park. I wish all the team members on the call today, the field team members, the very best and success, especially to Rajesh and Alok. You guys are really the pioneers of this. I salute your commitment and willingness to make this happen. So, but I'm also hoping that with the impact you create for patients and doctors, more and more divisions for whom this service is relevant will sign up in the coming months and quarters. Next page, please. Busy page, we can't read this, but I'll tell you how the process works. In a nutshell, the division enrolls a doctor, and the doctor gets the doctor enrollment is communicated to the team, and then to the doctor there is a collateral and a phone number that is left behind. And any patient whom the doctor wants to introduce the service, he will give a coupon code that is shared, or there's a mobile app download. One of this or both of this are possible. And the patient calls a toll-free number, identifies through a coupon code, and that once the connect happens, the credentials are verified, and then consultation begins. The first consultation is going to be for a max of 30 minutes. The second and third consultation are going to be for up to 15 minutes. That's essentially how it's a simple process. Let's go to the next page. Okay, can we go to the next page? I think it happens over a span of 30 to 60 days. And that's when the package is completed. So here's the team. So this is the full team that is going to serve all our doctors, the 1,300 plus doctors. They have been doing a stellar job. There are some of the newer members who joined the team from the Celevida team. I also want to take this opportunity to welcome them. So I think I'm pretty much done, right? Any more pages? I think this is the last page. So thank you very much, and I'll hand it back to Astha.
Thank you so much, Raju, for taking us through the details and your valuable dialogue on Dietelogue's project. So before we move on to Sandeep, let us now look at this short video on Dietelogues. Can we have the video, please?
We all know that healthy eating is the key to healthy living. But that's just in an ideal world. Studies have shown that unhealthy lifestyle can lead to several diseases, putting your health at serious risk. So, what then is the solution? Dietelogues, a unique initiative by the Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education. Based on medical nutrition therapy, MNT, Dietelogues provides nutrition service to the patients digitally through mobile application and phone calls, with an aim to provide a safe platform for both doctors and patients. Dietelogues was designed to complement doctors' treatment and bring MNT to all needy patients irrespective of their limitations, so that the overall treatment has a better outcome. Dietelogues provides a comprehensive nutrition service with consultation with qualified nutritionists that's available in 10 languages for 6 days a week and for 12 hours a day as per the patient's convenience. It's really simple. A coupon would be given to the patient by the doctor, which will have a QR code and a toll-free number to call and download the mobile app. The nutritionist then performs a comprehensive nutrition assessment based on the medical and nutrition history and comes up with a customized nutrition plan, managing patient health issues every 30 days for up to 6 months. Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education through Dietelogues has embarked on a mission, and we are now banking on your support to bring these quality nutrition services to one and all.
Thank you so much for the video. Hope this video gives you a sneak peek into the process flow of Dietelogues and how the patient journey would be. Now I would like to invite Sandeep to address the participants. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. So I think team, first of all, a pleasure to be with all of you. It's always great interacting with the larger team. And first, let me congratulate all of you that I mean, we are now in very much in the midst of this whole COVID outbreak. And I'm personally extremely proud of the way the team has adopted to this new way of working. I think initially, whether it be from a work from home perspective, or I think our adoption to the digital way of connecting doctors. And at least my sense is, compared to a lot of other companies, our adoption to the new normal has been far better and quicker. So I think congratulations to all of you. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the DRFHE team. It's clearly been a differentiator. Today, if you talk to any doctors, there are multiple webinars happening, there are multiple digital engagements happening, and there's almost a fatigue across doctors, right? And at a certain level, the uniqueness and the unique program that the DRFHE team between Yatish and team has been able to bring out has clearly placed Dr. Reddy as a thought leader, at least in some of these pieces, whether it be the Sadhguru session, whether it be the Sunil Gavaskar, Kapil Dev part, or even the other ones that we conducted. Let me now come back to, today, why all of us are there on the call today. And I mean, let me just go back of, where the thought was at a certain level. And as consumers and patients, what do we do? So typically, I'm sure I mean, at some point of time, you would have gone to the doctor, whether with yourself or with your loved ones, and the doctor would have written a prescription, and at the bottom of it said, एक काम करना यार, morning में walk शुरू कर देना, right? Or start having these certain fiber food or whatever, right? And we also realized that during this time, or even previous time, the doctor had very limited time to talk and explain about it, right? And none of us ever go on a walk just because somebody told us to go on a walk. I mean, everybody of us has to be forced there. And clearly, a lot of times the outcome of the medicine is far better if you can actually couple it with some kind of a lifestyle modification or some kind of dietary habit. And actually, that's the core thought process of this initiative, of moving in a world where the doctor doesn't have time, where his guidance to the patient is very limited or very unthought through. We wanted to ensure that we have experts who, after the doctor has prescribed the medicine to the patient, also take care of the whole lifestyle modification that the patient needs to do, whether it be exercise, whether it be stress, whether it be dietary health that requires, right? So I think that's the whole key thought process that we had. Our initial thought, or at least some of the insights that Raju and the team did, was the doctor is extremely interested, but he's saying that, I don't want any dietitian. I want the best quality dietitian to come and handhold my patient, because this is somewhere the doctor's equity which is going on, right? I mean, this service, though from DRFHE, is actually getting access to the patient through the doctor. So it's extremely important that the person who talks to the patient has a certain qualification, has a certain ability to converse with the patient. And I think thanks to our partner and the work which Yatish, Rajesh, the nutrition team have put in together, Anshul put in together, I'm quite confident that the quality of our dietitian team is definitely one of the best in the industry today, right? I know from experience that Abbott has a fairly large team, and I am also aware of the capability that we have tried to build into this team. The other piece, if you were to look at, I mean, at a certain level, there was a physicality in the whole element in terms of how you would have that doctor, dietitian, patient interface, right? So typically the dietitian would have to be housed in the doctor's clinic and at best take 3 to 4 to 5 patients in the day. Now, I think one of the offshoot of COVID is all of us have to be far more comfortable in this virtual way of working, in this digital connect. And that's not only true for us, for doctors, but it's also true for the patients. and they are also now far more comfortable with connecting with the dietitian or the doctor in a virtual manner. And I think the whole vision is that in a day, why does our counseling need to get limited only to 4 to 5 patients? Why can't we start catering to 10, 15, 20 patients per day, right? I think that's one large piece and the benefit that we see of this program. Uh, Obviously, therapies right now, though we are starting with the CVAD team, but our understanding is that the need is very clearly there for a lot of other spaces like GI, hepatoprotectors, nephro, oncology, pedia, and I'm sure we will keep on expanding this big time. Also, it's a shared service model. So irrespective of where, I mean, one grouse that most of the larger teams used to do was most of our initiatives are focused around the top 10, top 15 cities. And always our colleagues in Muzaffarpur or Ludhiana would always say that, I think I have a need, but you guys are limiting your service only to the Delhi Bombays of the world. And I think that's a huge difference that this is going to make, where irrespective of where you are, where your doctor is, where your patient is, we can actually make this available irrespective of the geography location. So my sincere advice, suggestion to you, all of you is, this is clearly a best-in-class service that the DRFH team has brought in place. Please ensure that you utilize this well. Our vision is that in the next 12 months, can we ensure that we impact at least 5 lakh patients? And I think that's a target for everybody on the call. Also, please ensure that you use this even for yourself, for your families. I'm sure the QR code is for you guys also. So ensure that you take the benefit of this. And I'm sure because of the service that we provide, your interaction with the doctor is going to be far superior. The service that we give to our doctor and patients will definitely make Dr. Reddy stand out. So on that note, all the very best. A pleasure to interact with you guys in any way. And please ensure that you utilize the Dietelogues to its maximum potential, irrespective of whichever location geography that you guys are in. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Sandeep, for the words of encouragement. This surely will instill confidence about Dietelogues in the various teams across Dr. Reddy's. Thanks again. When it comes to fitness, everyone working with Dr. Reddy's knows how Ramana stays fit, and his fitness quotient is something to get inspired of. I can bet no one can beat him when it comes to following a healthy lifestyle. Now, I would like to invite Ramana to kindly share his personal experience on diet, wellness, and patient centricity. Over to you, Ramana, sir.
Thank you very much. I think while I do focus a lot on fitness, but the two other gentlemen on the show today, which is Raju and Manish, both of them I think are holistic when it comes to fitness. Raju, I think with his inner engineering and the way in which he is controlling his diet and the fact that he continues to run the marathons, and similar is with Manish. I think they are better examples of what is good health and how they live it every day. When Raju explained to me this service that we are providing to the doctors, I really felt very happy about it, because this is so much connected to the purpose of why we exist as an organization. I had the good fortune of working with Dr. Reddy for many, many years. I would remember that whenever we would develop a product, he would ask us whether the quality of the product is better than that of the innovator. And the second question that he would ask us is, at what price are we bringing this product into the market? Is it something that the large number of patients that can afford this product? And is it better than what the competition is able to offer? And that is how we have always been very patient-centric in the organization. And it is now becoming extremely clear that offering a pill alone is not enough. Both the doctors as well as the patients are looking for a more holistic solutions for their lifestyle diseases. And in this sense, having absolutely well qualified dietitians who have come on board, who are going to help the patients of our doctors on what sort of a diet one needs to maintain, and to ensure that diet along with medication can help in prevention of the disease, and at the same time managing the disease better, is extremely important. And because of the current situation where we need to work with our customers in a digital fashion, our dietitians are able to reach out to more number of customers across the length and breadth of the country, and which I think is a very useful service that is being provided by DRFHE. And I would have to acknowledge Yatish and his team for doing so. And what I also feel good is the fact that this service is being extended to two winning teams that we have. Winning teams led by Rajesh Optimus, who have already shown the importance of nutrition with a successful scale-up of Celivida, which is only gaining the trust of the customers, and you're winning every day, whether it is in your POBs or whether it is in your e-commerce. You are consistently doing a great job in realizing the need of the patients to go beyond the pill. The second team, which is Zenura, again led by Alok, is a winning team that we have. You have successfully built Stamlo Beta, and have been consistent performer, whether it is COVID, whether it is pre-COVID, it doesn't matter. Zenura has always been a successful team. And both these teams who have good connects with the customers, offering this service of dietitians, is a very important step in trying to provide holistic care and to live our purpose of good health. For me, when it comes to good health, there are three elements. One is a state of mind, how one is happy with what he has and what he has been able to achieve in life and what he is looking forward to in his life. The second and the most important element is the diet that one takes, which is a combination of carbohydrates, the proteins, the fiber, in a very, very optimum manner. And the third, which is a very important element, is the exercise that you do on a daily basis. A combination of all of this is absolute, I would say, a formula to keep fit and to keep healthy. And not only it is a requirement for you as you progress in your life journeys, also from the fact that we all are part of Dr. Reddy's and we believe in good health can't wait. So I'm very happy with the launch and the scale up of this service that we are providing. And I look forward for the success and wish you all the very best, Rajesh, Alok, both of you and your teams.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your experience and perspective on health and wellness with us. Your journey is indeed an inspiring one. Next in line is an interesting panel discussion on therapy-wise perspective on medical nutrition therapy. And to steer this, I would like to invite Rajesh Khanna and the panelists Hari Krishna Vijayan, Ashish Nigam, Manish Bajaj, Sugata Mitra, and Arvind Shukla. Over to you, Rajesh, sir.
Thank you, Asta. Thank you, Mr. Ramna. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep, for the words of encouragement and inspiration. I request only the panelists to turn on the video and rest to turn off the video. So, good evening, panelists. I'm very happy to be a part of this panel discussion on the launch of Dietelogue. My first question, I invite Mr. Hari to respond. What do you think, Hari, is the role of medical nutrition therapy in diabetes management overall? And how do you think we can leverage in bringing customer centricity with this service?
Thank you for the invite and the question, Rajesh. Before I answer this question, let me take this opportunity to congratulate Raju, Yatish, and his entire team for this scale up and the excellent program. And let me make a confession, Raju, if I would have been a little longer in CIPLA, DRFHE is one initiative which was looking at implementing there, because this is one area which is envious for the industry. And as a company, we have been able to create a differentiator and distinctiveness here. And there have been many doctors in the pediatric space who said that if you want to do something different, do this. So that's on that note. Let me address this. So this question has two components, Rajesh. One is what is the role of medical nutrition therapy in diabetes, and how do we leverage it to bring customer centricity. So to answer the first part of it, the link between diabetes and diet has been well documented, as it has been the importance of diet in conjunction with medical intervention for diabetes.
Yeah.
Because of the direct correlation between diet, diabetes management, medical nutrition therapy provided by a qualified nutritionist has become a key component of medical intervention of diabetes management. Frankly, if today you go to a diabetologist with initial pre-diabetes or diabetes, the doctor does not jump into treating you with medication. The first thing he looks at and the first thing he advises is the lifestyle modification. So he asks the patient, are you willing to take up the lifestyle modification? And my lifestyle modification involves diet, weight reduction and weight management. Most of the doctors, once you go to them, recommend, irrespective of what is your current weight, they recommend 5 to 10% weight reduction. Then, of course, diet modification. Then there is this exercise regimen, stress reduction, quantity and quality of sleep. After all these things are addressed, the doctor eventually gets into medication. So that way, if you see, the diet, weight management, and exercise all form part of the medical nutrition therapy in diabetes management. The American Diabetes Association clinical practice recommends that individuals who are pre-diabetes or diabetes should receive individualized MNT as needed to achieve treatment goals, preferably by a registered dietitian familiar with the components of dietitian management. So if I were to address this question of diabetes, MNT in diabetes, all the journals, all the doctors have acknowledged the significance of a medical nutrition therapy in diabetes. Now, how will we leverage it to bring customer centricity? Despite of acknowledging that medical nutrition therapy is a key component of diabetes management, it is not so easy to execute or implement that. For that matter, American Diabetic Association defines MNT as nutritional diagnostic, therapy, and counseling services for the purpose of disease management. Mark my words, there is a nutritional diagnostic, there is a therapy and counseling services. All three together form a package of MNT as defined by ADA. Now, American Diabetic Association, another professional organization, defines the role of counseling services as setting priorities, establishing goals, and creating individualized action plans. Now, if you combine both, so there is a goal setting, there is a individualized plan and execution, plus the nutritional therapy of diagnostic and therapy. Now, if you were to create a customer-centric approach, first and foremost is the nutritional diagnostic, arriving at the nutritional need. Then the therapy. Therapy is the product design. If you look at our organization, we have spent a lot of time in the design of the product. Our product is scientifically designed, with all the ingredients, the right proportion of protein, right proportion of fiber, and the micronutrients, and the glycemic index. Now that's all about the product. Then in addition to the product, there is evidence. Ours is the only product which has a clinical evidence built into the system. So if I look at how will I leverage this relationship or bring in customer centricity by offering them a right product. So I have a right product which has got a clinical evidence and which has the backing of Dr. Reddy's and which is an ideal product. The second part of this, as defined by ADA, is the counseling services. Only then it becomes a medical nutritional therapy. Now, the counseling services play a huge role because of the conundrum. The patient conundrum is whenever you ask him to go on a diet or ask him to go on a weight reduction or any other program, the first question you would ask is, how much do I eat? Because that is defined as per the physical activity of the individual, height, weight. There are various other factors which are involved, and what is the target weight which is needs to be achieved. Second is, what do I eat? Because there needs to be a balance in the nutrition. It's not that you can eat anything and still arrive at a dietary control of diabetes or weight reduction. The third component is, when do I eat? How frequently do I eat? And the fourth component is, what I should not eat. Now, this is a patient conundrum which is always there in this area which needs to be addressed. And this is where the counselors come into play. So if I really want to bring in customer centricity, we need to integrate the product, that is the therapy, and the counseling services. Only then we will be able to bring in customer centricity in the whole medical nutrition therapy. So, Frank,
I think
Dietelogue would be one of the means to actually arrive and integrating our product, which is a fantastic product, an evidence-based product, and the service of counseling and educating the patients. So, hope that answers the question of how important the medical nutrition
it's
therapy is
quite
in diabetes,
elaborative and also
and
with
how will
great
we
clarity, Hari.
leverage and bring customer centricity into the whole
Yes,
stuff.
very much. And being in chronic, I also take the points that you mentioned. So the kind of guidelines and recommendations from international and national bodies we have, I think we are with the right product at the right place and right time. One more question, Hari, for you is, what is the scale-up plan then for the chronic business with such a wonderful product that we have today?
See, like Raju mentioned, we are not the first company offering counseling or dietitian services to the patient and the doctor. There have been many other companies which have done that, and Aventis has done it in the nutritional space, and Abbott has done it, and there are many other companies which do it at the pediatric space as well. Now, there were a couple of challenges. If I look at Abbott model of dietitian service, they gave a dietitian service after they became 3,000 crores. So we started off dietitians as a service, which is the right thing to do on day one. So some of the challenges which we had when we were providing the physical dietitian service was, first of all, a scale. The scale at which we could touch base, or we could provide the services for the customers, because there were a lot of doctors who were competing, demanding the service. They all want the service because they all appreciate the service. So the scale of engaging the customer was one of the biggest challenges we had. The second was the engagement with patients. How many patients can you counsel? 5, 6, 7, 8 in a 4-hour, 5-hour work schedule. So, and there were large number of patients to be addressed. That was one of the challenges which we had. The second was geography. Some geographies had larger footfalls, larger patient flows. Some geographies did not have, but there is a linguistic language barrier. There's a geography barrier because the counselor could not travel across and service the patient and the doctor. And the fourth one was standardization. There were complaints about some of the dietitians whom we had. There were some dietitians who were really liked, and their services were appreciated. So arriving at a process standardization or a standardization of service, minimum service level agreement with the doctor was another challenge which we could see in the physical model of the dietitians which we offered in the beginning. Now, when I look at Dietelogue, this is a fantastic initiative, and I really thank Raju and Yatish. I think this removes most of these barriers, because it is remote, because it is digital. Depending upon the need of the customer and need of the patient, it can be scaled up, scaled down, depending upon the situation. I think we will be able to service a large number of diabetologists who needed a dietitian counselor or a registered dietitian to be part of their practice so that they can counsel their patients. We can also address larger number of patients. There is a flexibility of working hours. You can actually suit the timing as per the patient requirements, and we can achieve a larger scale of patient service as far as this service is concerned. Geography will not be a constraint. Again, a counselor who is linked in Delhi can actually service a patient in Hyderabad or vice versa. So even that barrier is removed. The fourth will be standardization. So there will be a lot of process parameters which can be built into the services which we offer. There can be a lot of standardization which we can achieve in terms of what is the level of service which a Dr. Reddy's dietitian service provider will adhere to. So these are a couple of things which really liked about this whole model of digitizing the counseling and the app-based service to the doctors and patients. So there is no limit to scales. Raju was talking about 1 lakh patients. I think 1 lakh patients and few thousands of doctors is only to begin with. I think absolutely no limit to the scale we can achieve with this kind of a service, and maybe at a later stage, once we achieve the critical scale, it can also be a standalone commercial model where we can actually provide services to other non-competing business houses as well. So that's how I look at it, Rajesh.
That's so assuring, Hari. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on the Dietelogues. I move on to the next panelist. I invite Mr. Ashish Nigam. Mr. Ashish, I want you to discuss about the role of medical nutrition therapy in managing CVD or uncontrolled diabetes per se, and if other lifestyle related disorders also. How do you see the whole scenario?
So thank you, Rajesh. And I think, first of all, compliments to Raju, Yatish and team for putting up this. And when we are trying to scale this up with the help of now 2 teams. So coming back to uncontrolled diabetes, what you say, but I will also like to include entire gamut of CVAD. So it is not just about diabetes, because with now, as Ramna was talking about, with inclusion of mega hypertensive brands into this program, I think the scope widens to a large extent. And one of the therapies within chronic therapies, which I feel has not got the due share and due justice, is the hypertensive patients, because because of some very focused work done by some multinational companies around diabetic patients, there's a lot of awareness, there are a lot of scale being achieved and about the diabetic patients. But if you see hypertensive patients who eventually, it's a double whammy. Hypertensive patients eventually become diabetic patients, and diabetic patients someday turns to hypertensive patients. So even if the hypertensive patients, which is very large in numbers, and the seriousness around adding a diet regime to the managing hypertensive patients, if it is being made, so we have to first create an awareness through our dietitians. Then doctors have to have this dialogue with the patients that because even for diabetic patients, a restriction of salts. So the general perception is diabetic patients about restriction of sweets and carbohydrates, and hypertensive patients is all about salt intake. But actually, it is a double whammy. It's a mix. And there's not much awareness being created around restriction of salt, which is equally important for both hypertensive as well as diabetic patients. And I feel that there's a huge scope, even taking antihypertensive route or hypertension as a route or hypertensive patient as a route, and then talk about entire lifestyle modification and chronic medication, rather than compartmenting it as hypertension or diabetes. And through this structured program, wherein we will achieve scale, through this digital mode. And then I think this entire program can take a different shape if we try and integrate both hypertension and diabetes and try and manage this patient service. So not only it will take care of uncontrolled diabetic patients. I think while people have a habit of having that digital machine at their place and to check their levels of their levels of diabetes, there's not equal awareness about having a home BP monitoring. I think once this home BP monitoring is also given the same importance as the home check of the sugar level, if both are being integrated and then dietitians give the services accordingly, I think not only it will take care of the uncontrolled diabetes as a part of our program, we will also be having a new entire blue ocean of integrating dietary suggestions to hypertensive patients, but eventually, if it doesn't take care of the diet restrictions, if it doesn't take care of salt intake along with the carbohydrate and sugar intake, tomorrow can turn up as a diabetic patients, or the diabetic uncontrolled diabetic patients can become hypertensive patients, and then it becomes a syndrome. Because Indians, because of our own genotype, have an underlying syndrome X. Whether it is evident sometimes it gets manifest over a period of time. But then most of the patients who are diabetic become hypertensive and vice versa. So therefore, I think this is a good, while I was listening to Hari, this came to my mind that there's an entire blue ocean around this dietitian management, what we are going to add as a value to this as a pill plus service to our medication. I think it comes to my mind as a huge space where we can have a programmatic approach to manage three kinds of patients. One who is diabetic today, tomorrow can become hypertensive. One who is hypertensive today, who can become diabetic. And a patient who has already diabetes and hypertension, both when he has reached out to his doctor. And all the three patient types can have different dietary regimes to start with. And they can also be made very conscious as a part of the counseling that what things to avoid, not to fall into this trap tomorrow. So I think very, very important for us to look to this entire management more holistically rather than looking it to only diabetics point of view or hypertensive point of view. That's new thing which is coming to my mind while I was listening to Hari.
I think beautifully said, Ashish. I agree with you that 70% of the diabetics or 70% of the hypertensives are also found to be either hypertensive or diabetic. So it's present in almost 70% of the individuals that we are talking today in the disease continuum. And I also take the point that we are kind of entering an unexplored opportunity through Dietelogue. So thanks for sharing your thoughts, Ashish. I move on to the next panelist. I invite Mr. Manish Bajaj. Manish, you have gone through the results of the pilot which Raju has shared in his presentation. What do you think is the impact of the pilot created in diabetes segment?
I think as I've gone through the results, definitely I think for a new service in a few months to get that kind of impact and get that kind of satisfaction at the doctor level and patient level is definitely remarkable. I've been a part of other sort of pilot innovation sort of models, go-to-market models, and I think where it takes time. I think we have to go through a few iterations to get the workflow right, to get the model right. And I think here, I think we have in a few months we've been able to crack the model, and I think ability to get good results and satisfaction across the various stakeholders. So I think very, very happy to see that.
Thanks. So what do you think? What's your take on now leveraging this kind of service in GI or hepatic disorders?
Yeah, so I think as I sort of thought about this, I think a couple of thoughts. One, I think a bit I'm unhappy that I think none of my teams in gastro and hepato are in the first wave. way, I think we definitely could leverage it, and I will talk more about it. And on the other side, possibly I also feel if there are some chinks in the technology in the app, maybe you guys will sort it out, and in a few months my teams will come in when everything will be fully ready and fully in a state to be fully scaled up. So I think we're more than happy to come in. I think the gastrohepato space, as you can see, right from the GRD, which is like acidity, it's linked to diets, right? It's linked to how you eat, right? And then we go to more sort of complicated things like chronic constipation, which is about what kind of food you have, how much fiber you have in your diet. And then we get to more complex diseases like chronic liver disease or NASH, where I think there is a specific regimen for liver nutrition that we need to follow, right? And I think further on, I think as we get to more complex diseases like IBS, IBD, cirrhosis, or HCC, I think there's a range of nutrition sort of needs that we have at the patient level, right from I think the risk of malnutrition for the cirrhosis patients or the IBS patients. I think that to the level of having the right level of triglycerides, to having the right level of branch amino acids. There's a lot of needs that we have for the gastro and hepatic patients. So I'm sure I think with this service, as the gastroenterologists, hepatologists are not able to spend as much time. I think with this service, definitely we will be able to provide that value proposition to the patient. So I think and I strongly believe in the value of digital. I think with this we are really multiplying the effect that I think strong talent pool of dietitians and nutritionists that we have, right? I think we can really multiply their effect. They can reach to I think various corners of the country, as Ramana Sandeep talked about. I think very I think excited with this potential of how digital can take this value proposition and I think reach to many patients.
Yeah,
And
I
the
think,
second piece, finally, I think it's still a
yes.
unsolved agenda. And I will push you, I think, if you can solve that as well. Because I think knowing about nutrition, I think becoming aware of nutrition is one angle. Finally, I think our aim should be behavior change. And I think from knowing awareness to behavior change is still one more step. And I'm sure I think with the dietitians, we are making that step. But I think with the help of technology, we can make this even more stronger. I'm a strong believer in nudges, in behavior nudges. And I think with the apps and the dietitians on board, we can also incorporate that and I think build that finally to deliver behavior change in the patients.
First of all, let me thank you for the thoughts that you have shared for GI and hepatic disorders. But you also have laid out the futuristic plan for dietologues. The best of its form is the launch platform, what has been created now, Manish, and I'm sure adding jinx and moving towards behavioral change will be kind of a work in progress. I think we definitely have heard your inputs and suggestions on it. Thank you very much, Manish, on that.
Thank you.
I invite now Mr. Saugato. Saugato, I would like to hear your opinion on the pilot which Raju has shared.
Yeah, so thanks, Rajesh. I think if we look into the pilot, we did it actually in the cities which Sandeep had talked about.
We
They
did
were
in Delhi,
really
Nagpur, and Hyderabad in the first
right.
pilot. Yes.
Right. So we can see from the choice of cities that how the geographical boundaries can be taken away. You have a Nagpur there. It was precisely to what Sandeep said. Otherwise, this will always be in the cities like Delhi and Bombay. So I think that is one. We have seen that in the centers that where it has been used. I think there was a very good NPS from there.
Yes.
I think, but I think the more important part is from this pilot was the learnings. And if I may look into the learnings, I think I would like to categorize them. So first is I think uh, oncology and nephrology are in two very different spaces. So one is in nephrology. As we speak, I think what we will find is that the question of diet, I think, is intrinsically built into the treatment, because it's the kidneys which are compromised. So be the amount of protein intake you are doing, be the amount of salt intake you are doing, it's absolutely inbuilt into the treatment. And if you talk to a physician, you will find that or if you sit with a physician, with a nephrologist, while he is talking to a patient, you will find that, especially to a continuing patient who is coming again and again, a repeat patient, 70% of the time in that session is actually on what are the kind of diets you can take and not take. So that's as far as nephrology is concerned. When it comes to oncology, I think our learning was that normally when we speak oncology, we uh, paint it with the same brush. But actually, in oncology, there are four specialties. So you have a medical oncology, you have a surgical oncology, you have a radiation oncology, and you have hematology. The requirement and the way the community is shaped is also varied, very very varied, and the requirements are very very different. So when it comes to radiation oncology, where a lot of the patients are head and neck cancer, that's where the requirement of a nutrition is very very high. And that's why, as a specialty, a radiation oncologist is very attuned to the need of nutrition in the treatment. um, when it comes to surgeons, it's the same. There is a surgery which has happened, the patient has lost a lot of blood. The surgeon as a whole will be much more attuned to the treatment, to the need of nutrition. Next will be in the spectrum hematology, and on the furthest side will be the medical oncology. So if we look into the oncology, these four specialties, at one end of the spectrum, you have radiation oncologists who are absolutely sold out, and they are proponents of medical nutrition therapy. On the other hand, you have the medical oncologists where they need. I mean, we have to shape that market, and for all, I think, these categories, we need to understand that what is the screening criteria that they use, what is the need, and all those kind of things. So it has to be a very very specialized approach in these therapies. Unlike a nephrology, where the culture and the concept is actually already built into a nephrologist's treatment, the way diseases are. In oncology, it is not so. So I think we need to develop that, and this has been a learning. And I think I'm very happy that Yatish and team is actually, as I speak, is working on these learnings to come out with a module which is addressing the specific needs of an oncology patient. And again, when I'm saying oncology, it is the four different buckets, and the needs are very very different in the four different buckets.
I think, so personally, I have learned about the four aspects of oncology and how the need is very different. The dietary need is very different from one piece to another one. I think thanks for your valuable time and sharing your thoughts on the whole. And actually, you have also mentioned that Yatish and team are working towards solutionizing this service even for the oncology and nephrology. So thanks for that. So while all the four earlier panelists were talking, we have our fifth panelist who is expert from nutrition world and who actually would have started solutionizing or solving the dietary needs for the various set of patients that we were talking. So I invite upon Arvind Shukla now. For the benefit of larger audience, Arvind Shukla is leading our nutrition vertical. In less than a year, we have two nutrition products being introduced, Celvida and Celvida Max. I'm sure all of you are aware of that. So Arvind, welcome to the panel discussion here on Dietologues. I would like to hear from you, Arvind, with the growing awareness on medical nutrition therapy. Where do we see Dr. Reddy's as an organization emerging in this field?
Thanks, Rajesh. And at the outset, I would like to compliment both Raju as well as Yatish I think you guys have really done my job quite easy, because with this whole Dietelogues and the whole concept of MNT, it becomes a lot more easier for us to launch nutrition products specifically based on the MNT guidelines. But it's incredible because, as I was saying, I've seen organizations, this would be one of its kind where it's gone online and is being scaled up. Coming back to MNT and the whole journey of nutrition. If you see, last year we started our journey with Celaveda, when we started, we had our own doubts and perceptions how to position the product. And if you recall, because you were part of the journey, when we started the discussion on MNT itself, we had our own, whether this will work or this will not work with doctors, because the awareness levels are extremely low. But here I must compliment the nutrition team, specifically Prasanjit and Nandan, because they insisted that we should continue talking about this. And now we've seen that, this has resonated so well, specifically when we have those advisory boards on Celaveda. And as now I hear from all the vertical heads, almost everybody is now an advocate of MNT. So this makes it a lot more easier for us that at least the internal stakeholders are aligned to this whole concept of nutrition, and specifically medical nutrition therapy. But if you go to the background, the history of it, MNT actually started somewhere in 1994, right? And it was only around 2007 and 8, it actually caught fancy, because there was some clinical outcomes data which supported that MNT along with medications is able to improve clinical outcomes, and that was across the diabetic as well as onco patients. And that's where, this whole concept of MNT started evolving. And the way I look at it is, while we have launched product Celaveda specifically, which is as per the MNT guidelines, which has modified maltodextrin, phos, and all the vital nutrients which help in dietary areas, we've identified the needs and what are the critical nutrition needs and supplements required, which really help in clinical outcomes along with medication. And that's where, it becomes very important to also get clinical data. So the other effort is specifically on Celaveda, we have very strong clinicals to support, how this product actually helps in clinical outcome. Similarly, on other products which we are going to launch, in fact, we have a good portfolio now almost ready for rollout over a period of time, which will have strong data to support. So with this, I think the way I see the vision of this is that we will take it not only in India, across the board, even in emerging markets, because this is a concept which will work and resonate across markets. And this is also something which will differentiate not only our brands, but also DRL. At a organization level, also it will differentiate a lot. Other thing which I see is that, we need to build a lot of content around MNT, selling it, and, getting data across therapies. I think we have been able to do that specifically for diabetic, specifically for oncology, because we launched products. Similarly, for all the therapy areas, as and when we plan, we need to generate a lot of data. It's important for the physicians to buy this concept. So it's important that over a period of time, we continue this concept building. And I think the dietitians will play a very, very critical role in this, in helping build not only with physicians, but also with patients.
Then our entry into nutrition is very strategic. That's what I could learn from you, Arvind. Thanks for sharing that. I also would like to hear from you, even the audiences would like to know, what are the approaches of other companies? What kind of innovative ideas or routes they are adopting in this specific space of food supplements?
Yeah. So, some learning which I can share from my previous work lives is that specifically in India, organizations like Abbott and all, it's more of offline, counseling which was happening. But if I talk about what they have done, say Abbott or say Amit Johnson, specifically in Southeast Asia, China, and in Western world, it's all eCRM now. So it's all digital, it's all online, it's all through web chats. And it's more of a CRM. So it's like you interact with patients, each and everything about the patients. The HCPs, the healthcare providers, also know a lot about patients. And in fact, they also use this as a great platform of generating insights. Because if you see, I can share this example even for Celaveda. when we interacted with the dietitian which we had, specifically when we started our offline dietitian program, we got a lot of insights out of these insights. So I think the other thing which Raju and Atish should definitely look into is that how can you tap into those insights, because it becomes like a big data, and then you can use it, whether it is for product development or even for messaging, So I think in the evolved world, what has happened is that it has gone digital, and I think the way I see the Googles of the world, Amazons of the world coming in, this will become a lot more important, that how much data you have. And I certainly feel that this Dietelogues might become the core rather than being at a peripheral, because you are interacting directly with the patients and also are in touch with physicians, and you will have a lot of insights and data. So as I think a lot of companies, in fact, they are moving more towards personalized nutrition and precision medicine. And this is also in a way personalized nutrition, right? So there are a lot of small starters which have started catering to specific precision medicine and personalized nutrition. And that's how the world is going to evolve. There will be a lot more value attached to personalized nutrition. And as you will see, I think Dietelogues is a great step towards that, and it will help us as an organization also to move towards precision medicine and personalized nutrition.
Yeah, I think, thank you, Arvind. You also have seen Dietelogues as one of the innovative ways to get stronger in this medical nutrition therapy space. Thanks for your valuable inputs and insights from the nutrition world, Arvind. I thank all the panelists for bringing their expertise today to all of us from your respective worlds and therapy areas. And we feel very good about launching Dietelogues today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh, and all the panelists for this insightful discussion on medical nutrition therapy and how it is important in all therapy areas. Now, without any delay, we will move for the next round of panel discussion between Rajesh Khanna, Alok Verma, and Yatish Singh, which will be steered by Sunita Uppe. Over to you, Sunita.
Thank you, Astha. Good evening, everyone. So I will be the moderator for this panel. And first of all, I would like to welcome all the panelists, Mr. Rajesh Khanna, Mr. Alok Verma, and Mr. Yatish Singh. To start the discussion, today's topic is Dietelogues Way Forward. And first of all, I would like to welcome Rajesh Khanna to start the discussion.
Yeah. Sunita.
Yeah. So Rajesh.
Yes.
So Rajesh, my first question to you is, you have always been the first division to opt for nutrition service, be it, in clinic service or digital model. So I just wanted to understand, in fact, everybody, all the audience want to understand what makes you opt for this service.
So we just heard from all our vertical heads, Sunita, the role of diet and diabetes has been known for many years. So it's not a secret, and why being in diabetes, why I should not be adopting to this kind of a project. So that's the reason why Optimus has always been the front runner whenever there was something related to diet or nutrition as a service to the customers, both in physical and now in digital as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Rajesh. Very well said that, diabetes is directly related to nutrition, and it's a very important service for all the diet patients, diabetes
patients.
Yeah. So my next question is, you have already used this physical model, that is, in clinic nutrition service. So what is your view on this new digital model? Do you think that, in clinic model was better or digital model?
So in terms of quality of service, there is no change, Sunita. So quality has always been one of the best in the industry, both in physical and digital. Digital, of course, we have to get launched, but being the same kind of nutritionists and the same qualification that we have looked at while selecting these nutritionists, there is no doubt about quality. But in physical world, I always had a limitation, and we used to discuss about it, which is the scalability of the service. We were only catering to 11 cities before. We were only catering to 200 plus doctors. But now in digital world, what we have planned is we are taking it to almost 40 odd cities across the country. We are trying to touch around 800 doctors with this model. So I think digital model is definitely giving something like economies of scale for the division. So more number of doctors and more number of patients is what we are trying to take the service to. So definitely it's something better which is happening in terms of service.
So I'm sure this model is definitely going to benefit the division, Rajesh. And so my next question is, you already said that 800 plus doctors you are planning to engage. So what type of doctors are you planning to engage and why?
This becomes a very, very important step in the whole exercise, Sumita. We are very clear about doctor selection. We are choosing the doctors who are practicing in independent clinics or independent setups who are, because of various reasons, unable to provide this kind of service, a customized diet counseling service to their patients, maybe because of time or space or infrastructure or affordability or access to a qualified nutritionist. So
Right.
these are the doctors, the diabetic centers or cardiac centers who are very much independent and who want to give quality, probably a kind of holistic approach to the overall disease management.
Right.
These are the doctors whom we are picking, and this is the guidance which is also given to the team while selecting the doctors.
Yeah. Thanks, Rajesh. This is very strategically planned. Actually, the doctors who have their own clinics need the MNT service more than somebody who is working in hospitals for sure. Yeah.
So
Thanks for
patient
answering
walking
this
into any
question.
corporate hospital today, they have their own nutrition center, nutrition clinic.
True.
So it does not matter to a corporate-based doctor. Rather, that's the whole approach we have followed here.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for answering that question, Rajesh. So my next question is, what are the 2 or 3 things that the sales team should do to make this project successful?
So first thing is the answer for the second question, which is selection of customer. Selection of right doctor is very important. That we have done for the last 15, 20 days. The team has been doing it meticulously. Second thing is understanding how Dietelogue is very differentiated from other dietitian services provided by other companies. One definitely is the quality. Second, the vernacular language. So patient of Hyderabad, but a Bengali patient living in Hyderabad getting Bengali dietitian support. It does not happen in Hyderabad. It happens either in English or Hindi. But now with Dietelogue, he or she can get a service being provided in their vernacular language. So I am completely removing the regional flavor here. I am making it a pan-India service across the cities. So understanding this differentiated service is very important as the second point. And then third point is launching. How we launch becomes very important. So we have adopted a route where all these 800 doctors, the launch will happen in presence of PSR plus one manager, either ASM or RSM or SM, by taking proper appointment and making them understand. We'll present it maybe in the next 10, 15 minutes, take an appointment and do the entire presentation so that the believability of the doctor and acceptability of the doctor goes up. And he starts feeling Dietelogue as an integral part of his clinic rather than treating it as a service provided by a pharma company.
Right.
Okay, so these three for me are very important, Sunita.
Exactly. Agreed, Rajesh. So this is a very well planned, process from sales perspective to make this successful. So coming to the next question, what are the 2 or 3 things that the dietitian should have to make this project successful?
So I have seen this surveys in physical world. Like us, I think for the dietitians also what's becoming important is transforming into digital mode. Now here we are offering the service in digital world. So dietitian do not have the patient in front of them, unlike the pre-COVID times, right? So adopting to this digital is very much important. And most of the times when you're remotely managing the patient, the emotion gets missed. I want dietitians to be aware that the patients are being trafficked by our doctors, the HCPs. So we need to take it as our own responsibility in treating them very well during the phone calls, being available to them, listening to them or hearing them out completely, understanding their problem and then customizing the solution. I think these two things come to me on top of mind, Sunita, for the dietitians especially.
Thank you, Rajesh. So, Rajesh, my last question for you is what is your future plan? I mean, how do you look at Dietelogues in future?
So for me, future is right from the day of launch. So first 60 days of launch, how we reach to all these 800 doctors and start taking the objective that we have taken within the division is how can we get 5,000 patients from month one, right, from these 8,000 doctors. So that's one benchmark that we are looking at. How can we get 5,000 plus patients and then really leverage the advantage of Dietelogues as a service. And maybe probably after 3 months or 4 months, it also gives us an opportunity to reach these doctors, take their inputs, opinions, and definitely would like to scale up. From 800, can it be 1,000 plus doctors, maybe reaching 10,000 patients every month is something which we would like to do, Sunita, going forward with Dietelogues.
Yeah.
It's simply like we want to keep you and your team very busy in future.
Definitely, we will. We are always there, to support you. Thank you very much, Rajesh, for taking out time for this panel discussion. Yeah, thank you very much. So now I will welcome our next panelist, Mr. Alok Verma. So I would like to welcome Mr. Alok Verma for the panel discussion.
Alok is live. Alok is live, Sunita.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. So, sir, I have similar questions for you as well, and I would like to understand your perspective from your therapy area. So, my first question to you is, you have never been enrolled for any digital, nutrition service before. So, this is the first time that you have opted for any nutrition service. So, what is that made you opt for this service, sir?
So, right, Sunita, thank you very much for this question, first, in fact. And I am a big fan of DRFHE. When Jatish took the charge of DRFHE, he repurposed the entire DRFHE programs. And that was really helping us a lot. And Janura was one of the biggest division when you see last year in AFL. Okay. And because we always want to be going for a scale up. So when I see Zenura overall, and everyone knows in Janura that Janura offers ABC of CVAD management. So ABC means HbA1c, then blood pressure and cholesterol. But one P was missing from long back. That was a D, and that was a diet. Okay, and why we are not able to incorporate? Because we are not able to see the physical dietitian scale up to that level. All right, and that is exactly it is when we see about the diet. Is since we are not getting the big scale, so we are not involving dietitian in this. While we always stand strong on our motto of good health can't wait, it's time to add additional benefit for the patients. And now we got a dietitians online through the Dietelogue, where I'm seeing it's an opportunity for me to scale up to across the country, all across the doctor's clinic, and took an advantage for this. That is the one point. Second important point, which I'm always seeing that I'm seeing other advantages like personalized services to the patients, cost effectiveness for all of us as well as for the patient also, as compared to the physical dietitians, and help in managing chronic disease virtually without any hassle for the patients. Okay.
Right.
There are multiple things which has motivated all of us to go all out for this program, and I'm sure we are going to be leverage this in a much better way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And I'm sure, the team will be benefited out of this service. And you have taken this service at the right time, if you ask me, because,
Exactly.
on digital platform, it's very easy to scale up the programs and reach out to different types of customers. So my next question to you is similar to what I asked before. What are the type of doctors and how many doctors are you planning to engage for this project, and why?
Basically, we need a doctors who like patient support programs, right? And usually the aspect is considered as, this aspect is considered as a soft science, and many doctors may not go for that. So targeted type of doctors are very high end CPs, GPs, CPs, cardios, and diabetologists. And initially, we are planning to the 250 doctors among these specialists. And since we have launched the two very excited brand, one is Rosette Gold, another is the first time in the country which we are going to launch about the Metismol VX, that is extended release. That obviously this digital dietitian supports and services would help in increase the noise level at this specialty, and obviously give bigger heights to these brands for us. So initially we are going to start with 250 doctors, and we are going to take it to the 500 plus doctors in the next 3 months of the time.
Okay, thank you, sir. And my next question is, what are the 2 or 3 things that the sales team should do from your perspective to make this project successful?
So for the team, the first request is that they have to consider this as an opportunity to meaningful partner with doctors to bring about best patients outcome. That is the first message from my side to the both team. And second is the doctor selections, especially to Genora team, where we have done so many such programs in the past also. But we have a fair understanding of one programs which we are doing in the past is called PHAP, Purple Health Adherence Programs. And we have a first cut understanding about who are the doctors who like the patient adherence more. Right? And we have moved up to the 25,000 and then 30,000 patient enrollment in those PHAP in that days. So I'm sure this is another cut which we are going to take it when we are selecting the doctors among these specialty. And third is the geography. Geography is very important, as we need to select locations where patients go for such program, where there is uptake. And fourth is very important, as for the RSMs and SMs, they should take it as an opportunity to leverage and ownership for this product. So these are the 4 things which I feel we all team will take it forward as a group and will make it big success.
Yeah, that's very strategically planned, sir. So my next question is, what are the 2 or 3 things that the dietitian should, do to make this project successful from your perspective?
It's quite challenging for the dietitians because it's all the virtual, right? So a big challenge for them to how they can become more empathetic and more close to the patient. That is a very big challenge for them, and I'm sure the level of dietitian which we have, they will be definitely able to do it. Dietitian should plan customized need-based plan which will fulfill the actual need of the patient. That is the first, obviously, the expectations will be there. And sharing the customized diet chart to the patients, tagging it to the doctors. Now, what Rajesh was also talking about, the customized diet plan. So I feel that it's for me. The patient should feel attached with the dietitian. That is very important. And monitoring the progress of the patient on the monthly basis, if we will be there on that, that will definitely make this program quite successful. And commitment to the patient is very important here. So any dietitians of any language who are connecting with the patients, and they should feel that the patient is sitting in front of them and they have to treat it like that. So this is one important message.
Right, sir, very well said, sir. Actually, this dietitian service should be, patient centric, and the more focus should be given to the patients to make this successful. So, sir, my last question to you is, what is your future plan?
So, Sunita, it's like the first question which you say, why you are adopting it, right? So similarly, it comes to the last question also for me, because if I have to make it really successful, and this team is like that, this team goes, then it goes in a big way, right? So my first priority is to make plan and execute the programs well in the near future and make it a big success, so that the team starts seeing it as successful, and then take it to the 500 and then 1,000 doctors, because this is an opportunity for all of us for make Dietelogue as a brand for CVD management in the country, right? And without Dietelogue, doctors should feel that they are not complete. And I'm sure that the way CVD team is going for this, obviously this is going to be one big brand where the chronic disease patients can depend, as well as doctors can depend for their patient betterment. And obviously it will help us in ensuring our company's motto for good health. So this is all about that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir, and welcome to the project.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I would like to request our next panelist, Mr. Yatish Singh, to join for the discussion.
Thanks, Sunita.
So Yatish, you have been the head for DRFHE and Dietelogue's project per se. So my first question to you is, from operational perspective, what are the critical factors for the success of Dietelogues?
Thanks, Sunita. And first of all, I would like to congratulate all the team members, all the dietitians on the ground. It's a great day for all of us. And you have been putting in your efforts throughout this lockdown period. So congrats. It's a new journey for all of us. I would like to also congratulate all my colleagues from GG India. This is a moment we were waiting for quite some time. I would like to thank a lot of people who are not there right now on this launch platform, but they have worked behind the scenes. To start with Surbit, one of our team members who was instrumental to launch this project. We got a lot of support from the nutrition team, Suman, Prasenjit, Rachna, and marketing colleagues, Anshul, Sanmay, Neeraj, Anirudh, Sandeep. So all these people have been working behind the scenes, and right now also they are supporting us to make this possible. So I would take a moment to thank all of them, and they have helped us. And to the pilot team, sales team of Optimus and Titans, RSMs and ASMs of those markets, Hyderabad and New Delhi and Nagpur, where we worked, and we could learn some things. So in terms of operational kind of expectations and critical success factor, if I have to narrow down to one thing, it is going to be the excellence of the dietitians on the ground. And I would want to stay laser sharp focused on that, because that will remain a key differentiator. Because on the secondary things, but if the excellence of dietitians is not there, then the project will face issues. So we'll want to stay focused on the skills and the knowledge of the dietitians. We'd want to train them. So I would personally want to see that 50% of effort goes in learning and 50% of effort goes in terms of catering to the demand from the markets. So there would be continuous training programs for all the dietitians, learn while you earn and earn while you learn. And we would be sitting with the marketing teams of various therapies, onco, nephro, we are already working in parallel, and other therapies like pedia. And we would want to understand the intricacies of those therapies and then train our dietitians. So learning will remain number one focus, productivity remains the second focus. And as Manish emphasized, mechanically releasing a diet chart is not the end of the story. It should lead to behavioral change. And we would want the dietitians to get into that mode that even the slightest interaction they have with patients leads to transformation in their habits. And these are habits formed over 30, 40 years of age. So that's something we have to keep in mind to make this project really successful. So that's three elements which I feel are very important. And we was like, there would be push notification in the apps for the patients. They would be getting aware about various other information. They would also get to learn about various kind of exercises and various other kind of info will be reaching their way. So these are a few elements which will be adding on the way, but I would want to stay focused on the first three.
Thank you, Yatish. So my second question is, what are you doing to keep dietitians up to date in terms?
Yeah.
Yatish?
Yeah. So we have Astha in our team, and she has been working extensively. We ensure that we have a training program at least once a week, and that's on the medical front. We have now moved on to case study based discussions. So every disease and every therapy has peculiarities, and these are the things which we discuss. Now we have to evolve into discussing comorbidities and comorbid pathologies. So and the diet to be prescribed in that kind of situation. So those are the elements, and also the understanding of the pharmacology of various medicines. As we are evolving as an organization, we are coming with newer medicines. So what is drug, diet, and uh, uh, interactions between the two, and how can the dietitians be aware of it. So that will be a critical piece. We would want the dietitians to put a lot of emphasis on and keep themselves updated. In terms of expertise, I think it's imperative that all of them keep themselves updated. We will have quizzes and tests so that nobody is left behind. We will have catch-up training programs as well. And a lot of collaboration work will happen. There would be a lot of training, so you would expect the marketing teams also to come forward and share the context of their molecules and brands so that the dietitians know in what context these are being prescribed, and hence they would also keep that in mind. So these are simple expectations in terms of keeping the team updated, and I am sure you and Asa will take care of this. And we'll also seek support from our medical, as well as we have a big nutrition team, and we have been heavily supported by many of them. So look forward to working in close collaboration with them.
So my last question to you, Yatish, is what is the long-term aspiration you have for this Dietelogue team?
Yeah, so near term is 1 lakh patients, 1 lakh new patients, which we would want to reach. That would be something which we should chase. And in few years, we should try and reach at least 5 lakh new patients. India is a big country, and the need is across the length and breadth of the country, not only in the metros. And in future, maybe this service can go global, as Arvind was mentioning, and that is what we would want to be part of. So that's the longer term milestone. And but again, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a small step, and the project being launched in first week of October. So I would request entire Zenura team and Optimus team to take out some of time. I understand this is a busy half-yearly closing month, but let's put all the pieces together so that we are all set to launch. 29th, I think we are thinking of launching it to our doctors outside. So the journey from 29th, and hopefully will go global in next few years.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Yatish. So with this, I would like to thank all my panelists, and I would like to conclude this discussion. And before that, I would like to thank everybody who was involved in arranging for this, and also the Optimus and Zenura team who has been continuously supporting us to make this project successful. Yeah, over to you, Astha.
Thank you, Sunita. Thank you all the panelists for this interesting discussion. Before we conclude, we have few questions, but looking at the paucity of time, we would answer those questions through a mailer. So with this, we come to the end of today's session. I would like to express my thanks to all the participants for taking time out and making this launch a successful one. Thank you for your patience. I wish your day is good and have a happy weekend. Stay fit, stay healthy. Thank you.
All the best, Dietelogue team.
Thank you so much.
We all know that healthy eating is the key to healthy living. But that's just in an ideal world. Studies have shown that unhealthy lifestyle can lead to several diseases, putting your health at serious risk. So, what then is the solution? Dietelogue, a unique initiative by the Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education. Based on medical nutrition therapy, MNT, Dietelogue provides nutrition service to the patients digitally through mobile application and phone calls, with an aim to provide a safe platform for both doctors and patients. Dietelogue was designed to complement doctors' treatment and bring MNT to all needy patients irrespective of their limitations, so that the overall treatment has a better outcome. Dietelogue provides a comprehensive nutrition service with consultation with qualified nutritionists that's available in 10 languages for 6 days a week and for 12 hours a day as per the patient's convenience. It's really simple. A coupon would be given to the patient by the doctor, which will have a QR code and a toll-free number to call and download the mobile app. The nutritionist then performs a comprehensive nutrition assessment based on the medical and nutrition history and comes up with a customized nutrition plan, managing patient health issues every 30 days for up to 6 months. Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education through Dietelogue has embarked on a mission, and we are now banking on your support to bring these quality nutrition services to one and all.